Brothers and sisters, I want to begin on a personal note. About 50 years ago, I was a young monk, wet behind the ears, salted away in a monastery up in northwestern New Jersey. And the call came out from Selma, Alabama, a preacher who I hadn't heard of before, Martin Luther King Jr. And in spite of the opposition of my abbot, myself and the only black monk in the monastery, we practically sneaked out and flew down to Selma. And I had the privilege of meeting Dr. King and spending some time down there. And this was a life-changing experience. And I realize now in retrospect that I had the privilege of being there at the core of what was happening on the planet at that time. That's relatively small movement made up of poor people for the most part, powerless people. We're going to take on the empire, and we're going to become the conscience of our nation, the moral voice of our society, and take on the presumptuous task of facing a history of a nation that was built on the slavery of African people brought over in ships and on the theft of the land from the indigenous population of this continent. And the power they were going to use was the power of satyagraha, nonviolence, soul force. But that, in spite of all the opposition, they played a moral and a historic role in transforming our society. Not enough yet, let's not get sentimental. We have a long way to go, but a major step. And today, as we have heard, some of the veterans of that movement, including, for example, Reverend James Lawson. Reverend James Lawson, a Methodist minister, he actually played a major role in bringing nonviolence to Dr. King and the movement. And he and others, as we heard, have convened this Council of Elders, about 40 people representing many different movements or social change organizations. And once again, the time has come to raise this moral voice, to be the conscience of the nation, and to, together with others, especially with young people, in the midst of so much darkness, in the midst of so much hopelessness, in the midst of so much political cynicism, for those of us who have been watching the conventions and the whole electoral process, are once again going to be presumptuous. As a Jew, we have believe it or not, we have a wonderful word called chutzpah. And today, a radical chutzpah is being called for. This has certainly been modeled for us by the young people of Occupy Wall Street. But they are not enough. Let us not rest this burden on the young people. It has come, the time has come for us as elders to share this burden and to launch and continue a powerful movement of nonviolent revolutionary action. Because nonviolence is the ultimate revolution, because it suggests that there is something more powerful in the world than armaments, than economic power, than the corporations who allegedly run this country, and it has to be the sole force that we are bringing together. So today, my dear brothers and sisters, let us take this statement, That was, by the way, Greensboro was a movement there. The sit-down movement was launched by 4 young people who had the gall to sit down, to stand up by way of sitting down in that Woolworth and start a fire. And this is the fire, although our numbers may not be great at the moment, our courage is, and together, brothers and sisters, we can do this. So thank you, and God bless you.